Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back to Phatkat Collections. Got another camera review for you guys today, and I had already started recording this, so kind of bear with me here. This is by a company that goes by the name of Rebluum, R-E-B-L-U-U-M, and they were nice enough to send me two of their cameras, and I'm going to share with you guys today their camera under the brand name Viziuuy. It's Viziuuy, V-I-Z-I-U-U-Y. I don't know. So, and the reason I'm doing that is because these are the exact same cameras. This company just has a couple brands under their umbrella, right? And so the one I'm going to share with you guys today is their pan tilt zoom camera. So I'm going to just give you guys, I haven't used these yet. This is more of an unboxing than it is a full in-depth review. Price on this, $56, which is pretty darn good for a solar lithium-ion battery contained camera. That's fantastic. I mean, the price of these things has really dropped. And ultimately, at the end of the day, you know, when you choose a camera, a lot of what they're making out there, unless you start stepping up to optical zoom cameras and 4K cameras, they're all very similar. And so what do you get with this? I'm going to give you guys kind of the basics first, right? And then I'm going to, and this is right off the Amazon listing, link is in the description. But I want to talk about my pet peeves. And I do this with every brand because I'm hoping that some of these brands will actually, when they come out with new models, improve upon their design. So we have a 2K solar camera. We do get the solar panel with this. Again, price on this exceptional. If you buy two cameras, you can save 8%. It's going to save you your tax depending on where you live. That's pretty good, right? You have 360 degrees of pan tilt zoom. That is pretty close. Usually they're about 340 because they don't look directly behind the camera. There is a stop. They do not rotate in a circle. Two rather large antennas. I don't know what the dBi gain on these is, but definitely something that people are going to notice in your house. It's not something that this is not something you buy if you want just a discrete camera. And I find that I want people to see my cameras, right? But you want the install to be clean. You don't want something like, this is a pet peeve number one, cord management. Every camera I've reviewed has terrible cord management. The only time you get a solar pan tilt zoom camera that I've reviewed anyway that has, you know, a good clean look is when they mount the solar panel directly on top of the camera. That's my favorite type. I find that these solar panels are so good, they really don't need direct sunlight. I have several cameras mounted where those solar panels never get direct sunlight and they always maintain a full charge. So the solar panels are using nowadays, and I can't speak to this one, but it looks like every other solar panel that I reviewed for every other camera, they do an exceptional job charging devices without being in direct sunlight. So that's a good thing. So with that being said, I find that the solar panel, let me get to the pet peeves now. I find the solar panel being rather, I don't think this needs to be this large to maintain a charge. Now I could be wrong. I'm not an engineer, just a normal YouTube guy. But I don't think you need a panel this large because I have cameras that use a panel this large, not in direct sunlight, and the camera never drops beneath 100%. Of course, at night you're going to use a little bit, but they always maintain a full charge. And so this is a rather large thing to have to mount. I don't like that they owe every brand I review, most of them do this. There's nothing to wrap the cord around, right? There's no way to manage this. They always give you the same old solar panel and the same old bracket. So what I end up doing is just kind of wrapping the cord around the bracket. It does sort of hide it behind the panel, but if you can when mounting these things, you know, I would, if you're going to get this, what I would really try to do is, even if you don't have to, is if you're going to mount the camera, I like 9 feet is a good location. When you start getting higher, second floor mounting, it becomes harder to see what's going on, and you want this camera to be, have you know, a 2K camera is not a 4K camera, so you're not going to be able to zoom in like you will on a 4K. So I think 9 feet is a good range to still be able to kind of maybe make out somebody walking on your property. But again, you know, what I would do with this is to eat up this amount of cable, I would actually run this the full length. If you're going to mount the camera at 9 feet, run this up as high as you can to eat up this cable. Mount these things around gutters, because then you can kind of hide the wire behind your gutter, and it makes for just a clean installation. I'd much rather see a company make something like this. This is great, don't get me wrong, but I'd like to see them kind of think about cord management for folks who don't want to go ahead and do that, right? Maybe you have a small ladder and you can only get up 9 feet, right? I'd really like to see them include something that allows you to mount the solar panel on the camera directly over it like this, but then actually be able to manage the cord, whether that's to give you, you know, a little kind of splice in here, allows you to, like they did on here, this is a kind of a USB-C screw-in type connector for weather resistance, right? But it'd be nice to have them just kind of separate the cable and maybe have something that allows you to mount this right in the camera, get rid of the extension, and then have a nice, clean, simple install. The bracket's great. This is very similar to a lot of other cameras. You mount the bracket to your house, and you basically slide the camera in and click it in, and it locks in place. Rotation on this, they always say 360 PTZ. It's not a 360, it's more like a 340, because this does have a stop, and you don't want to rotate. There's no need to rotate 360. They just call it 340-degree rotations, but people probably, I don't know, get confused on that. But none of these cameras that I've reviewed, they always stop, so you can't keep spinning around. It would be nice to actually have a camera that does rotate 360 degrees, because it would make it that much quicker to get to the other side of the camera, but you will have to rotate all the way back. What else? You get the standard, you know, 2K resolution, two-way audio, compatible with the Amazon Smart Home Assistant. It says PIR motion detection, color night vision. Color night vision just basically means it has a better CMOS, so you don't have to use the infrared lights. In complete darkness, though, you will need the infrared lights to be able to see, and you get that kind of black and white look, right, with the infrared light. So, you know, overall, though, it's exceptional deal for $56 for a lithium-ion powered pan tilt zoom camera with solar panel. But these are the kind of things that just kind of bug me about brands, because they all are making, if you want to stand out, there's so many cameras on Amazon, if you want to stand out, you got to do something a little bit different. And I find that brands like this are just basically getting the same camera, and I could be wrong, but it just seems like they're getting the same camera by some manufacturer, and then they're just slapping their name on it, and there's nothing really different to really set it apart. And there are cameras on Amazon that are different, that do set themselves apart, but this is not one of them. This is your generic pan tilt zoom camera like every other brand out there. And that's not to insult it, it's a great price. As far as the good stuff on this here, the resolution, again, you have that 2K resolution, which they state is 2048 by 1536. It says 1.5 more times detailed than 1080p cameras. It says here it has 355 degrees of rotation and 90 degrees of vertical rotation. It's the Cloud Edge app, which I think Cloud Edge is another brand camera, and I'm pretty sure that I have. Let me just double check. Yeah, so I am using Cloud Edge for another one of my cameras. What else? It says here AI motion detection and customizable motion area. It says there it'll reduce false alarms by 90%. I've yet to have a camera not get fooled. I've yet to have a camera that doesn't say, hey, I picked up a human, and there's no human there, right? So I kind of take that with a grain of salt. It does have a 3 alarm modes, a voice warning, a flashlight warning, and the app push. It'll record on up to 128 gigabyte micro SD card, which is not included. And with their cloud service, you get free 6 seconds of recording playback, which is kind of nice. I haven't put any of that to the test yet, just to let you guys know. I do want to, while I got you folks here, is pull up the Cloud Edge app and see which one of my cameras, because since a lot of times when I review cameras, I don't have the experience to really put it to the test. These are more of like unboxings. But this one here, yeah, so I do have a similar camera mounted in my backyard on sort of like a pole with string lights on it. And let's see, the resolution's great on it. It's definitely at a 9-foot height. It definitely works well. It rotates nice and fast. You have the light. As far as the history, let's see if I got anything here. Go into calendar. I just want to see if I can pick up anything here. So yeah, so I'm going back in my calendar, and I know I've been in my backyard. When I pull up history, it says you don't have an SD card. And when I go to history, cloud service here, it just wants you to pay monthly. And so, no recordings on this day. And it doesn't give you the ability to, let me just see if I can go to history. Let's see, it's really strange. I'll go to history, calendar, and we'll go back. As I go back, I know I was in the backyard, let's see here, yesterday. So yeah, there's nothing on here that allows me to look at any cloud recording. which is disappointing. So I don't know. I'll have to put that more to the test. But again, this camera should have had some kind of like, if that's true about you get free 6 seconds of recording playback with their cloud service, I'm not getting any recognition that I was even in the backyard. So that's disappointing. I don't like when companies say one thing and provide something else, but you know, that might be a setting. Maybe there's a malfunction going on. I'm not 100% sure, but anyway, kind of take that with a grain of salt. And this is why I always recommend buying things on Amazon, because you can test this, you know, for a couple days and really see if it's going to work for you, right? But overall, I'm not trying to make it sound like I'm knocking the camera. These are just a few things to think about. You know, and a couple of things I just wish that they would provide with their cameras. Again, a nice clean way to mount the solar panel, the ability to shorten the cable, you know, and include an SD card. If you know, a lot of these cameras want you to sign up for the cloud recording, which is great, but it's another monthly charge. And I would much rather just be able to maintain, you know, most of the time with it's not like we live in a world yet that, you know, we got people constantly trying to take our stuff, right? It's more of like a peace of mind thing, and something that, you know, when something does happen, you do want to go back and check it, but, you know, 6 seconds for recording, if it's not going to give you, like, it doesn't tell you the expiration date, how many days it records, how long that footage is going to be on there, and sometimes we have to go back and say, hey, that was weird, I didn't notice that, I want to go back 3 days ago and take a look at the camera footage. So that's the only downside. I just wish, you know, I'd rather them sell a camera for 60 bucks with a 32 gig card. This way you get it, you can mount it and be done with it. So again, these are just small pet peeves of mine, but it's not just this brand, it's many brands, and I just hope that the more I say it, the more brands say, hey, all right, you know, that's some good information. Let's go ahead and mount, you know, be able to give the option of mounting the solar panel, make that included. Let's go ahead and come up with something a little slicker. You know, do we really need a solar panel this large? You're going to notice this on your house. The camera's large enough. And again, it doesn't look, if you install it properly, you hide the wires, it doesn't look bad, but I really prefer having a panel mounted. Now you could get creative and build something, and you probably can shorten this cable and go through that hassle if you're tech savvy. But you know, people buy things, they just want to install it and have it work. And so that's kind of, you know, again, something that I always mention with any camera I review, because a lot of them are very similar. What else? That's really about it. The spotlight and siren. I think the spotlight's kind of nice if you're going to mount this somewhere and somebody walks up your driveway, kicks on a light. That's kind of dual purpose. I like that. But the alarm mode, I can tell you, I sure as hell would never trust any of this AI software to you know, flash a light or give a voice warning, because this thing would be going off all day long, upsetting my neighbors. So you know, I just don't think the AI has come far enough along that it's not smart enough yet, right? Now, if you were to kind of think about it, if the AI can get to the point where it was smart, whereas like, let's say I'm watching this camera live 24/7, I'd be able to make the distinction between, hey, that's my neighbor, or hey, that's a car, or, you know, a lot of them just don't work all that well. If, like, for instance, if you put on one of my cameras, I have on AI detection, and it'll pick up cars, right? But my car is in the frame of the video, so it's constantly showing my car. And you can, of course, turn off that area, but, you know, your car is never going to be parked exactly in the same spot, and then you're going to lose part of the area where you might want to monitor, right? So I just don't think it's come along far enough yet to really be, I think, reliable. But, you know, it depends on where you're mounting it. If you live somewhere where you get absolutely, you know, no traffic, no motion, it might work great for you. You know, if you mount this somewhere where you know people generally are not, that might be great for you. But it just depends on your house, your apartment, your business, wherever you're mounting this. I'm sure that if you, even some of the ones I have inside, you know, generally when you mount an indoor camera, it's not seeing any changes, right? It's in a room, everything's still, but I still have cameras that will pick up false alerts. It might be the sun going in or out, right? And I just don't think, I haven't had any of them good enough to be super 100% reliable. But you layer your security, you check up on things, you talk to neighbors. You know, I talk about layering security all the time. It's just another tool in your toolbox. So don't get one thing and say, I'm going to put all my eggs in one basket, right? And depend upon only one thing. Have multiple things, right? But overall, great value. I want to thank Rebluum for the generosity in collaborating. Remember, if you see Rebluum or Viziuuy, they really should they really should consult me on creating names before they do it, because some of the names, you know, are just, I mean, it's a name, fine, but I don't know. You think you'd make it kind of related to like security cameras, you know, like Smart Cam or AI Cam, or, you know, something like Recam. I don't know, just something, but it doesn't make any sense. But anyway, overall, who's going to buy this? Really anybody, you know. If you got 50 bucks to spend, that's pretty good. That's a great price. And I will state also, I am gravitating towards, when I install a camera now in my house, really getting ones that are battery powered. And the nice thing about that is battery powered cameras with a solar panel, that even if your power goes out and this sucker is still on, it's still got power, it's still recording. So the peace of mind with that is that if your power does go out and somebody wants to do wrong, it's going to pick them up and you can go back to that SD card and take a look at the footage. But I just don't know if I don't think it's going, you'd have to have a reason to go back. It's not going to say, hey, it's not smart enough to say, hey, I've lost power, but during that power failure, I picked up motion that needs your attention. That'd be nice if they can integrate that into some of these cameras, but they haven't yet, at least none of the ones that I reviewed. But overall, still a nice camera and still great value. So thanks for watching. If I could help in any way, let me know. I put the links in the description for you to pick this up, and you guys have a great day. Take care.